Hermes is known as the messenger of the gods, which easily leads us to the mask of Nyarlathotep, especially since Hermes is also a trickster, fond of playing practical jokes and patronizing thieves and fraudsters, which may lead to further associations with the crawling chaos. But his role as a messenger was greatly expanded by believers and philosophers. First of all, he became the patron of all kinds of travel and transport, even to the afterlife, as a psychopomp escorting souls to Hades. He is the patron of all roads and intersections. Secondly, the messenger is a transmitter of knowledge. He was credited with the invention of numbers and letters. In later centuries, Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes the Thrice Great, was created by combining Hermes with Egyptian and Judeo-Christian beliefs. The term Hermetic comes from him, and it also became the center of the occult belief system called Hermeticism. Note, contrary to what priests and preachers say, occult does not mean satanic. Hermes Trismegistus was said to be an archetypal sage and magician. He was credited with authoring 36,529 books containing all the knowledge and wisdom of the ancient world. Primarily, the so-called Tabula Smaragdina and the Corpus Hermeticum treatises. Hermeticism combined astronomy, astrology, alchemy, medicine, and psychology. That is, it was a mishmash of mystical superstitions and proto-science, more or less like magic in mythos, though, of course, the real possibilities of the Hermetists were much more modest. Interestingly, many Hermetic concepts which at first glance sound like esoteric gibberish have in a sense been revived in modern science. The Hermetists believed that matter was composed of 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Sometimes a 5th element was added: will, soul, mind, symbolized by a pentagram. This meant that by changing the proportion of an element in a given substance, one material could be transformed into another, hence the search for a way to transmute lead into gold. As science developed, this concept was rejected as a pipe dream. The possibility of transmutation was considered an absurd, until it turned out that yes, all matter consists of the same elements: electrons, neutrons, and protons. So changing their configuration allows you to change the essence of the material. And modern chemists managed to transform it into gold. Although such a procedure is unprofitable from an economic point of view, energy consumption significantly exceeds the value of the gold produced. But for a being with unlimited, from a human point of view, energy sources, it can be actually efficient. Concept of the 4 elements was somehow revived in the form of states of matter. Earth equals solid state. Water equals liquid. Air equals gas. Fire equals plasma. Another Hermetic concept was, as above, so below. It sounds like mystical gibberish about the unity of man with the heavens, or sympathetic magic. But the development of science has led to the conclusion that in fact the microcosm is often an amazing reflection of the macrocosm. The structure of the atom resembles the structure of the solar system. So we have a being that, on the one hand, is omnipresent, embodies movement both in our world and between planes of existence. One could say that it is a key in a gate. At the same time, it is also a source of secret knowledge, which at first is philosophical, superstitious gibberish, but turns out to contain bits of science that go beyond the understanding of the people who possess it. Who else but Yog-Sothoth? Well, possibly Haster, patron of wizards and interstellar travel. According to Greek mythology, Hermes was the father of Pan, a strange creature. Pan had a body and face of a man, was all hairy, had goat legs, a tail, a beard and horns. Doesn't this description remind you of Yog-Sothoth's most famous spawn, Wilbur Whateley? Of course, Wilbur's lower half wasn't exactly goatish. The Pan's scream aroused incredible, irresistible fear among people and animals, hence the word panic. Pan used to play the syrinx, the Pan's flute. One day, Pan fell in love with the nymph Syrinx, and she's not in it. Pan chased her and almost caught her, but Syrinx turned into a river reed. At that moment, the wind blew and a beautiful sound came from the reed blades. The Pan plucked the reeds and made an instrument from them, which he called a syringa. A lovely story. What is Lovecraftian message of this legend? What if Pan was the spawn of Yog-Sothoth, and one of the incredible powers he inherited from his daddy was to make sounds that terrified earthly beings into maddening terror? And what if it was possible to construct a musical instrument that imitated this effect, and preferably made from the bones of a human woman who had previously been reduced to terror? There is another interesting story related to Pan, told by Plutarch. According to him, Pan lived for 9,720 years. During the reign of Roman Emperor Tiberius, sailors passing by the Ekinat Islands heard a voice that ordered the helmsman named Thamus, after reaching land, to announce, according to this interpretation, the great Pan is dead. The sailors hesitated for a long time, and finally, reaching land near Palodes, they announced the death of the god. At these words, there were complaints and terrible groans from all sides. Let me add that, according to some followers of the ancient Orphic cult, Pan was the creator of the earth, which he separated from the sea, and the individual elements of the universe were equivalents of parts of Pan's body. Have they confused Pan, the offspring of Yog-Sothoth, with his father who is all in all? And of course, since we are talking about the Pan, we cannot fail to mention the book The Great God Pan by Arthur Machen, one of the precursors of cosmic horror, highly appreciated by Lovecraft.